Matters took to a different turn in the recent years, and Tuskys is no longer the giant it used to be. What went wrong? Tonight, Samuel G. Wainaina tells us a story of a retail giant whose future hangs in the balance.
For almost 3 decades, Tuskys supermarket has experienced a tremendous growth within and beyond. The retail giant has created thousands of job opportunities and remarkable expansions to other countries such as Uganda and Tanzania. Tuskys is a wholly Kenyan privately held company owned by 7 children of Joram Kamau, the founder of the business, who died in 2002. However, a new chapter for the retail giant will unfold, and the family-owned business will take a troubling path. Tuskys will start collapsing in front of our eyes, with employees and suppliers experiencing it all. With some individuals who have been part of this retail giant coming out to tell their stories, questions like what went wrong, what could have been done, who should be blamed will most definitely arise. Founded in 1990 in Rongai town, Nakuru County, Tuskys has grown to be the second largest retailer in the country after Nakumatt, with 52 branches in Kenya and Uganda. The supermarket has remained in the list of the top 20 supermarket chains in Kenya, among others such as Carrefour, Naivas, Nakumatt, Shoprite and Uchumi. The founder, Joram Kamau, ran a small shop called Magic Selling Mattresses in Nakuru in the 1980s. Mr. Kamau had refined a unique relationship with the founder of Nakuru Mattresses, came to be known as Nakumatt, who was doing brisk business across the street. They made an arrangement where the latter would supply Joram certain goods that were nearing expiry on generous credit terms, which he could then sell at very low prices. As the 30-year-old business expanded, both in Kenya and Uganda, so did the chaos over the running of the affairs of the company deepen, worsening and threatening to degenerate into an expensive legal battle that would change the face of the retail giant for good.
Niliingia Tuskys 2012 around August hapo, nikafanya casual for 3 months, alafu nikaajiriwa permanent. But then confirmiwa 2013 January hapo. So hiyo wakati Tuskys ilikuwa mzuri, kwa na wakati shida mingi, supply ilikuwa mzuri, pesa ilikuwa tunakuwa nalipa vizuri, hakukuwa na mambo na kusumbua na staff ama nini. Tulikuwa tunajua sisi wote permanent.
So I have worked in Tuskys for 4 years since 2016, and I started as a supply chain clerk, and I worked as a supply chain clerk for 2 years. Then now I went for a management training for another like 3 months, and then I worked as a sales coordinator for another 2 years. And I would like to say, from when I joined Tuskys, there was already signs that there were issues going on, because when I joined Tuskys in 2016, they were doing like a clearance of all the old stuff.
Mimi ni mfanyikazi wa Tuskys na nilijiunga na wao mwaka 2012 na nimefanya branches tofauti hapa Kenya. Sasa kwa muda wenye nilijiunga nao, niliingia kazi ikiwa sawa, tulikuwa tunalipwa vizuri, mambo ilikuwa sawa, lakini si kitambo sana kazi tumeanza kuumia sisi kama wafanyikazi. Kazi inaonekana ni kama haiendi sawa. Na wakubwa wetu wamekuwa wakituambia kila kitu iko sawa, lakini in real sense haijakuwa sawa, kwa sababu hata customer wametoroka kabisa.
I joined Tuskys in 2017 It was around April. And actually they had offered me an internship of 6 months. So I did the internship, and then I was given another internship. So I worked for 1 year as an intern. And in 2018, I was confirmed. And I can say now I got employed with Tuskys. I can say that the journey in Tuskys was a very beautiful journey, because personally it has taken me from very far. I can say, looking at the way they handle their staff, to begin that way, walikuwa ni watu wanajali staff wao. In fact, working for Tuskys ilikuwa ni kama is a pride. Sababu ukiangalia one thing, tukiangalia kama issue ya vile mnawekwa, kama umefika kwa shop, unapewa food, kuna breakfast, chai, mkate, lunch unapewa, yani vile unataka kukula. Si ati kuna kitu watu tunafanywa rationing. You are given meals, you are given tea. We used to take tea at 3 p.m. before we go home. And even the working hours were very conducive.
After kuingia union hapo, sasa tukaanza tuseme kusumbuana sasa na mwajiri sasa. Sasa hapo ndio mwajiri sasa kaanza kuchukua mbinu nyingine sasa ya kudeal na wafanyikazi. So by then tulikuwa tunafanya almost 12 hours. So wakati sasa tuliingia union ikakuja na njia zingine za kudeal na wafanyikazi, ikaongea na mambo na tuseme overtime, so lazima tulipwe. Union ikasema tufanye for 8 hours. More than that nalipo overtime. So kampuni ikakubali, wakasign, ikaanza tulipa overtime sasa. Sasa wakalipa for around 1 year, hapo wakaona sasa ni expense sasa kwao.
From the go when I joined Tuskys, there were already issues that they were trying to find ways to clear working capital. Because when you look at the problems that Tuskys is facing right now, it's mainly to do with debt mainly in working capital. So they were trying to clear staff costs, to reduce staff costs by doing away with the old staff and taking in new, cheaper labor. And in the first place, of course, yes, you're cheap labor, but you're being told you're coming in under a contract of 9 hours per shift. But in real sense, you're going to work even up to 12 hours. This is without compensation, because you usually they came up with a policy to compensate you using the same hours you had worked, which usually at most times never happened. So in the first, that is when I joined Tuskys.
We were very comfortable. Like to say, there is this thing they introduced to the staff, which really helped the staff. The issue of there's a mega sale product they used to introduce to the staff, whereby you are free to go and take a product from the mall, and then you agree, your pesa unakatwa pole pole. So I can say it really took so many people from very far. There were no issues. Ati sijui the salary whatever delay, sijui ati there's a problem with the way you are paid. Salary was very timely and very accurate. So I worked there for 2017, 2018, 2019. So the big problem in Tuskys began in 2020.
So sasa hapo tukaa sasa kama tuna fight sasa na kampuni. So ikaanza njia ya kutoa wafanyikazi sasa, hao watu wa permanent. Ukiwa na makosa kidogo nenda nyumbani. Ukiwa na makosa kidogo nenda nyumbani. Sasa hapo ndio tuseme walianza na mambo management ya juu, kutoa wale walikuwa headquarter, wale wakubwa wa kitambo. By the way, hao watu walikuwa na experience sana, hata kama ni wale walikuwa maybe wa familia moja hivi, lakini wale walikuwa na experience ya kazi. Hukuwa na issue wakati huo, ni vile sasa walikuwa najaribu kupunguza hiyo wage bill. Kutoa watu wa kitambo, leta watu wa chini, especially my interns sasa.
So you can imagine if someone had worked for 10 years, or plus, because most of those people are those people that started with Tuskys when it was starting in Nakuru. So someone has worked for almost 15 years and then you do away with their service, which is unfair in the first place. But because they feel they still want to work and they have needs, they just take the new contract because of the qualifications that are given. So yes, that was 2016. And that was the first red flag. And now as a receiving clerk, my duties were mainly to receive the goods that were coming into the supermarket from the suppliers. And these problems with suppliers that you see Tuskys facing right now, they did not start overnight. Because I would like to think that if a plane was leaking fuel, it doesn't crash immediately. It is going to take a while before it crashes. So those problems that Tuskys is facing right now did not begin now.
So I think it's a problem that had eaten up before, only that Aikwe may come to the limelight. Because at around when this corona pandemic came, around March, that was why I say we began to now get the big test of the other side of Tuskys. Because the moment it came, I remember the first thing that the CEO, he sent a memo. And he committed himself to a 20% pay cut in the name of the corona pandemic. So after around some few weeks, that same March, that's when a memo came. And then we were told, now as the staff, will be undergoing a pay cut of 20%.
On and off, you had issues where suppliers don't come even for almost 3 months because when you call them, they say they have not been paid. So the issue with suppliers, it's not a new thing. And when you look at the news that are coming up, when they say that they are paying, the debt right now for suppliers is at 6.2 billion. And the money they have been given is 2 billion. Already they have been given 500 million, which has not enabled them to clear the working capital. Staff have not been paid, even after the 500 million was given out. Rent, right now there are branches operating on fuel for generators because the power bill has been cut because the power bill is unpaid. So the problems that are there, I feel that they are not coming out because the management is trying to manage the situation. It's trying to give a picture that it is not as bad as it seems, you see. So from 2016, the issues with suppliers have been there. So it is not like it is a new issue.
Actually, by that time, because I think the time when Tuskys made a lot of sales was when there was the whole public they thought that the president atakuja kuweka lockdown. We sold in Tuskys because people were coming to buy in bulk. Merchandise was coming like if it was busy. I think that was the time Tuskys made so much money. But now, there's a way you sell so that at least the way you sell, ndio unapata vile unauza, ndio you expect things will be okay. But now things started becoming different. Even us tukaanza kuona there's a problem. Like now the normal routine, the truck used to come kuna siku specific for different branches. That routine began to change. And then when the truck was coming this round, it was coming, alafu haileti mali mob, just some little merchandise. So we begin wondering what is happening.
Tu wanajua kwa sababu hata wakubwa wataki kushughulika na sisi. Wajue nini kinaendelea katika maisha yetu. Na wana expect bado tuende kazi. Kama sisi tulikuwa wengi, mimi ni wa union. Niko union. na tulikuwa nikiingia tulikuwa over 6,000 unionized members. Tukapungua recently tukafika 2,500.
What they were implicating was the corona thing. But with us, people have been in there. You see the other supermarkets that were still operating normally. Supermarkets like Naivas, they were operating normally with normal merchandise. Their shelves were always stocked. But as we were running out of stock, things were becoming, vile mali inakuja, unapata hata shelves zimeanza kuwa empty. So we were still asking ourselves a lot of questions.
On Monday, February 28th, year 2012, Kenyans got a rare and uneasy peep into the lives of the secretive family that runs Tuskys, one of the region's biggest and most successful supermarket chains. That time, 3 brothers, firstborn John Kago Kamau, secondborn Samuel Gatei Kamau, and fourthborn Mugweru were accusing their thirdborn brother of mismanaging their company in business dealings between Tuskys and the 7 other suppliers that were either related or personal ventures of the directors of the company. However, Mr. Mukuha denied the charges.
But the biggest problem that came initially that brought the downfall of Tuskys was the relationship between the office and the suppliers. Because now, the big problem came when Tuskys as an organization waliacha kulipa suppliers. So unashtukia, there's this company, okay, we used to make orders, we are the ones who make orders in the shop for merchandise. There's this company, is a big company that brings, like Bidco, like those companies. There's this company that brings nini inaleta mali, unashtukia all of a sudden, imekuwa withdrawn.
Shida ya Tuskys imeanzia wakati hiyo CEO anaitwa Kithua, wakati aliingia Tuskys. Na ilianzia wakati hapo ilisemekana kwamba outsourced, walikuwa wanaandika outsourced. Na hiyo outsourced inasemekana yeye bado hapo ni shareholder mkubwa sana. So kulikuwa kuna Artemis inajiita Artemis. Kuna nyingine ilikuwa inaitwa Krishna na kuna ziko aina 3 hizo outsourced, lakini zote bado ni zake. Nile tu amebadilisha majina ndio isijulikani huko nje hivyo.
So kama sasa watakuleta watu wamesoma au wageni wanakuja, tuseme kwa mfano mnaita graduate afanye kwa supermarket. Supermarket mostly kazi na kuanga hapo ni kazi ya mkono. Kuleta graduate hapa nafanya, ukikuja kumwambia kwa mfano sisi watu wa kitabu tunamwambia sasa fanya hivi, tunataka graduate tuende mzigo kwa store tupange kwa line. Huyo mtu ataona hiyo kazi ni ngumu, with time anafanya almost 1 month hivi anaenda. Tena unaita mwingine. Sasa ikapata na wale wa kitabu bado wanatolewa tu. Kaza kazi kaa kuwa na inakuja watu ambao si experience. Wajui kuleta mali, wajui mali zile zinauza nini na nini, wakaanza hasa hapo shida ilianza kutoka. Haya huko juu pia wakaanza wala nafanya huko juu wakaanza kuleta watu kwa very close na tuseme watoto wa familia hao very close ndio wakaanza kuletwa hapo. Hata akifanya kitu hakuna maana yanafanywa.
So now as a receiving clerk, there are suppliers. You know when you make an order for a supplier, you expect 100% delivery. But now when you make an order and then the supplier delivers 2 or 3 items, it doesn't make sense. Or they don't supply at all. They just hold the order, and when you call for follow-up, they tell you they are waiting to be paid. I can give you an example of a supplier. Right now they are not being mentioned because they started to credit control Tuskys from a long time ago. Since Nakumat came down, they started controlling how they supply to Tuskys because of the debt that was there.
Many people are saying that COVID-19 is what has brought the downfall to Tuskys, but that's not the case. For someone who has worked in Tuskys, and for someone who has been in the environment of Tuskys, every worker in Tuskys knows very well. Even those managers, the management, the top management, everyone knows very well that there was mismanagement of funds that came in, and that is what brought a downfall to Tuskys. the first thing that happened, they failed to pay the suppliers. And you see, hii issue yote is only two people who have brought this downfall. That's what I know. That's the information I know. It's not a hearsay. It's open information to everybody. Two people are the ones who have brought a downfall to Tuskys. The CEO and one of the directors. They are the people who have liaised, and with a lot of mismanagement. I don't know where they take money, because we always used to sell merchandise. You see, our whole branch was bringing almost in a day. Remember, there is a day, a Christmas day, where we sold almost 10 million shillings one day.
Since I became a receiving clerk, Hypermart used to supply their goods sparingly. They supply just what they think is going to sell in faster or in a few weeks. So that, and that is, they used to set a credit limit for Tuskys. They give you, maybe they give a credit limit of 4 million for all the branches. So once that 4 million is reached, they are not supplying anymore. So you're going to find that the shelves are empty, that you're making orders and the goods are not being delivered. And the same people being blamed for this are us, the staff.
April 2013. A disturbing chapter will unfold when Tuskys entered into a private deal with Ukwala Supermarket, a rival chain whereby Tuskys would buy 6 of Ukwala stores in Nairobi area. To arrive at that fair price, Tuskys took over the management of 2 of the stores to assess the traffic and commercial flow at those locations. The 2 chains did not consult the Competition Authority of Kenya, CAK, as required by the law. The regulator stopped the deal and fined the 2 chains a total of 5.3 million Kenyan shillings. When Mboni team reached out to the Competition Authority for more clear details, Mr. Boniface Makongo, Director, Competition and Consumer Protection, said, and I quote, "The Tuskys Ukwala transaction involved the acquisition of several Ukwala stores by Tuskys without the approval from the authority, as it required under Section 42 of the Competition Act number 12 of 2010. The authority imposed a penalty on the merging parties, with which they settled. The parties then proceeded to regularize the transaction by submitting a merger application to the authority." End of quote.
So looking at the scenario this way, I can say the issue of Tuskys is not COVID-19. The issue of Tuskys is not the employers, the employees. In fact, if there are people who have stood very strongly with Tuskys, is the employees. Because even up to now, Tuskys is operating. There are people who are going to work, and the last time they saw salary was July, and they're still going to work. And to the management, it sounds like, you've told us you are able to work without pay. Continue working. So I can say very clearly, outrightly, the mismanagement of only 2 people are the people who have brought a downfall to Tuskys.
Do you know when else?
Yes, I can say them openly. There's one, actually I can say openly, the CEO. The CEO is the one who has come and brought a lot of fraud to Tuskys as a whole. Because he's called Githua. Yes, Mr. Githua. Because the CEO is the same person who owns a recruitment agency. The CEO is the same person who has shares with FlexPay. The CEO is the one who owns a cleaning company. And he's the one who controls everything.